many decades have actually gone into communities to build up the black communities, not only in prisons, but also in, a lot of these progressive run cities like Chicago and New York, Baltimore, where there are big sects of the Nation of Islam. Now, I am not a supporter of all of what Louis Farrakhan says, okay? I just want to make that very, very clear. However, you cannot deny that throughout his career, he has sought out to actually build people up from low-income neighborhoods, really give black people, some economic pushes, or at least help them to get back on their feet, especially in the prison system. And this is not something that people will talk about. This is not something that a lot of people even know if you don't really listen to Louis Farrakhan, because, hey, everybody deems him as an anti-Semite, people deem him as a racist, a bigot, and all that. But if you look beyond his speech, right, Farrakhan is not advocating for people just being killed on his behalf, even though things get taken out of context, similar to Alex Jones. But he has helped his communities. Even people like Tamika Mallory, right, who is a staunch leftist, has to acknowledge the fact that it was because of Farrakhan that she was actually brought up in these communities that empowered her, that really actually gave a place for black people, which is why they have so many supporters, and that's why they are still very, very impacting in the black community.
And they had a good laugh. They call it Friday Follies. So on May 10th, they had a good laugh at the minister's expense. Mr. Arroyo referred to the minister as insane. And you really had to wonder whether these two individuals that were bearing false witness against Minister Farrakhan and calling him an anti-Semite and a variety of other hateful names, whether or not they had listened to the entirety of his speech. How did they make their judgment? Was it on the basis of a synopsis from objective groups like the ADL or the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I refer to them as objective with an amount of sardonic levity, or did they actually take the time to listen to Farrakhan? Because false witness is a very serious thing. It's actually listed as one of the 10 commandments that are prescribed. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And yet they did so on Laura Ingram's conservative Christian program, if you want to believe that. Well, my question to Laura and to Raymond is, who else is defending Jesus Christ, the holy name of Jesus Christ? There's a Catholic Men's Association known as the Holy Name Society, and yet I haven't seen them lift a finger in defending Jesus Christ against the invective and opprobrium and scurrility that's in the Babylonian Talmud. Who else is defending the reputation, the honor, the name of Blessed Mary, the Mother of God? Louis Farrakhan did both of those. He defended Jesus Christ and the Mother of God, Mary, the Mother of God, and he did so truthfully. He expressed his shock. Blaise Kupich, however you pronounce it, the Cardinal of Chicago, who was the former bishop, cover-up artist bishop of Spokane, Washington, he says the conscience is shocked by Farrakhan. Well, I guess it's shocked by the truth. And in fact, Farrakhan's Talmudic statements, what he attributed to the Talmud, that was never questioned. The veracity of those statements was never questioned because truth is not an issue in these types of matters. What is at issue is being called a name, having that name stuck on you forever, perpetually, anti-Semite. Even though the history of that word coming from Wilhelm Marr, who was himself a Jew hater, and it's a pseudo-scientific taxonomy, which is supposed to denote that someone despises and execrates the descendants of Shem, the Shemites, or as they've come to be known, the Semites. Well, that's ridiculous. Louis Farrakhan not only does not hate Semites, he has the greatest respect for Judaic converts to Christianity. I ought to know because when I first met Minister Farrakhan, he thought that I was a Judaic who had converted to Christ. And he honored me and showered me with the deepest and most profound respect when he believed that I was of Judaic descent and I had accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So there's proof right there from my own experience in terms of how much this man loves the Judaic people. The fact that he has separated them into categories of satanic Judaics and good Judaics, is no more astonishing than when Judaic critics of the Gentiles will say there are angelic Gentiles and there are satanic acting Gentiles. And we can all think of non-Judaic people who have behaved in a satanic fashion. Do you mean to say that there's no Judaic person on earth in all of history who's ever behaved in a satanic fashion? Of course not. No one could say that. And Minister Farrakhan was simply pointing out that he supported good Judaic people of goodwill, and he was trying to bring to the light and educate those Judaic people who were lost in the coils in thrall to the Babylonian Talmud. And everything he attributed to the Babylonian Talmud was exactly correct. The Talmud does say that Jesus is in hell, being boiled in excrement. It does give permission for the molestation of boys. It does give permission for the molestation of girls under the age of 3. And this will be denied, and it will be called anti-Semitic. Well, how can the truth be anti-anyone? And if all of these intimidation tactics are employed in order to keep people from actually studying the texts themselves in context, then we're not going to have the advancement of human learning, human knowledge, which is supposed to be allegedly the whole point of the internet.
Squad, y'all need to pay attention very closely. They are banning all the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They are banning him from Facebook and Instagram. They're also banning certain videos from YouTube. Anything positive or talking about the unity of the community or uprising or anything that speaks on what the enemy is doing in this system, they are censoring this. Understand that. Other celebrities are talking about it right now. Snoop and other people, Riz Islam, they are banning a preacher from talking on YouTube. Whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a black Israelite or a member of the, a black liberation community, it doesn't matter. He speaks positivity and truth to all people. So where is that? That's a very dangerous line. If you're going to censor a Muslim minister who's speaking peace and unity and coming together to rise against the one true enemy, which is the fucking greed of the fucking fat corporate white pieces of shit that fucking run this world, that's a very slippery slope. They're censoring things, bro. They're starting to take off any conspiracy videos, any videos about 9/11, which is, there's a commission of engineers that came out and disproved fucking 9/11. They actually have a court case going on for it right now. Anything to do with vibration, energy, anything that goes against what they want you to know right now, they are censoring this. They just took Minister Farrakhan off Facebook and Instagram. What's the next thing they're going to take, bro? Do you understand? You are literally being censored. Every channel you watch is owned by the same 6 corporations, which are owned by the same 3 major corporations, which are owned by the same one fucking family. Do you understand? This is all an illusion of choice. Democrat, Republic. Oh, if you're gay, you got to be a Democrat. Well, if you're a businessman, you got to be a Republican. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Understand this is very real right now. It is very real right now. They are taking a man who does nothing but preach unity, love, and respect and puts out the truth. Whether he has his own religious viewpoint on it or not is not the point. You need to understand, when they start censoring people for real, and hiding information, there is a reason for it. There is a reason for it. I want y'all to know, bro.
I'm all this, I'm all that. That's all cap, that's what you hear.
Saw that Facebook and Instagram have banned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and saying that he's dangerous. And you have to ask the question, dangerous to who, dangerous to what? And so I wanted to offer up my personal testimony to give insight into dangerous to who and dangerous to what. I am a Caucasian. Obviously, I have a Caucasian man. I have 6 Caucasian children. I don't fit the profile of somebody that is supposed to be learning from the Nation of Islam. However, I was brought into the teachings by Dr. Khalid Muhammad Again, it was not a lecture that was meant for me, but I had never heard a man talk like that before, and I desperately wanted to know what he was talking about. I was raised 40 miles outside of New York City, hardly ever saw black people, anybody of color. I think there were only a handful of even Jewish kids in our school, and I didn't realize that my life was like that on purpose until I was 20 years old. So growing up for 20 years in a Truman Show like reality where everything was orchestrated just so like you didn't see the cracks in Caucasian society and you just kept continuing it. I was not that kid. I never really fit in well. And so when I heard the voice of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, I really had to know what he was talking about. So thankfully, there was plenty of lectures out there from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I, for the first time ever, felt like I had a minister, I had a spiritual guide, I had a director showing me love, teaching me. He's the one that taught me about Jesus. I was this uppity, rebellious, liberal white girl. You know, I didn't have any respect for people in religion. I didn't have any respect for scriptures. He taught me everything. He taught me to respect all cultures and religions. He taught me so much. And this is slander, and it is the farthest thing from the truth about everything that is being said about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And if you think about using the language, hate group and dangerous, there's not any actual facts to back that up. That at this point is just, slander. It's just something that is rhetorically said to just scare you away. Like, oh, there's nothing to see here. But if you think about like the power of 1 2-hour lecture on VHS had on me, and Dr. Khalid Muhammad didn't have any love for Caucasians, nothing but fire, but yet that had the impact to completely change my way of thinking and really transform how I critically thought about all things that I had ever been taught in my whole life. That's the danger, right? That your mind is going to get free. And so I've never actually been near a Muhammad's mosque. I've only had VHS tapes, cassette tapes. Yes, I am that old, and DVDs, and now, live streaming and interacting on social media. So I get the chess move. I get why they're doing that, but it's laughable. You can't shut this down. It's not your time. Your time's up.